Hi Gemini, my name is Audrey Alison. Thank you for joining me for your August 2016 forecast for the month. I am happy to be here. I'm using the Alchemical deck by Robert M. Place for the tarot portion, and I'll be shuffling throughout the reading. And I wanted to thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing to this channel. I also want to thank you for your support on my Facebook page, Audrey Alison Astrology and Tarot. Gemini, there is a lot going on this month. We have eclipse season starting, as well as a Mercury retrograde in August at the very end. So let's start the forecast on the 2nd of August. We have Mars entering the sign of Sagittarius, where he'll be conjunct Saturn at the 9-degree mark in the 7th house of marriage and relationships and soulmates. So you've had Saturn in this sector, Gemini, for a while now. And Saturn is a feeling of restriction and realignment in the marriage sector, soulmate sector. Mars is giving stamina and energy there and wanting you to push forward, just as much as Saturn is saying, don't go so fast, hold your horses, take your time. So there's a little bit of a tug of war happening in your soulmate sector. The good news with this is that there is realignment ahead for Gemini, because with Saturn, there's always a bit of uncomfortable energy in the 2.5 to 3 year transit that this planet stays in a sector. But when he leaves, you won't see him there for 30 years, 27 to 30 years, but he's also going to leave with finished business, with the realignment, with the discerning element of what you need in marriage, what you need in relationship. And then Mars is there to give the push, the stamina, the energy, the power, the drive and determination to handle things. And this also applies to business partnerships. So the house of the others, the 7th house of relationship. If you're not married, it's the committed relationship that you're in. On the 2nd as well, we also have our new moon at 10 degrees of Leo. And this is in the 3rd house of communication. So all of this, Mars and Saturn, will be trining the new moon and Uranus in Aries. So this is a lot of fire activity for Gemini, and you sextile Leo, so this works for you. Whatever positions you have in, or planetary placements that you have in Gemini, this sextiles the Leo energy. And on the other end, it sextiles the Aries energy with Uranus. So this works for you, even if it is abrupt, even if it feels like it's been a roller coaster ride with Uranus involved. On the 5th of August, Venus enters Virgo. Venus is smoothing over the home sector, the environment, where you are resting your head. Some of you might go back to where you came from, the 4th house of foundation. On the 13th, Saturn will go direct in that sector in the 7th house, which always works for us. The quicker he's direct, the quicker he gets out of that sector. But it also helps his ability to realign and discern even better. On the 18th, we have our full moon lunar eclipse at 25 degrees of Aquarius in the 9th house of travel, of education, certification. So for those Gemmies who are in courses or getting degrees or taking higher classes or higher certification courses, this comes to an end somehow mid-month. Also, travel could come to an end, and the eclipse can be eclipsing things out of the picture. So maybe your plans will even change in regards to foreign travel. The full moon does bring an ending here, so ending the trips at that time would work, and just in time for the Mercury retrograde as well. The 22nd, the Sun enters Virgo, conjunct Jupiter, conjunct Venus, and Mercury. So this is all about that 4th house of mother, 4th house of home, environment. When you have so many beautiful personal planets in this sector, this is strong activation in home base. So you're feeling like that's where you need to be, that's where you need to connect right now. On the 29th, Venus makes another transit into Libra in the 5th house of children, of 5th house of romance, conjunct Jupiter and Venus and Mercury, expanding the romance you're already in with Jupiter. or a new connection with something creative, or the connection with your children in the 5th house. I like this transit because it doesn't get better than Venus conjunct Jupiter and the Sun and Mercury, this very powerful energy in the 5th house of fun. So I think Gemini kind of deserves this break at the end of August, and just in time for your ruling planet Mercury to go retrograde on the 30th at 29 degrees of Virgo, back to 14 degrees of Virgo. Now, this is in that 4th house, visiting the home, taking trips to where you went to school when you were younger. Something is calling you backward in a direction, and that's okay. That's where the energy is. So you have to go where the energy is. Let's get to the cards, and then I have to get out of this sun for a minute. I'm melting out here. The Alchemical Deck by Robert M. Place I'm using. And let's see what comes up for Gemini for August. And if you'd like to read, if you'd like to read with me, I read all through the month. You can find me at audreyalison.com, and you can select your desired reading length via the PayPal button, and I will get back to you in an email to set that up. Okay, Gemmy, here are your cards. Wow, I got this first in the reading prior, which was Cancer. I think it was Cancer. Yeah. 10 of Wands, the phoenix rising from the ashes, burdens that you're carrying. And I said this also, I'll say it again. This has a positive tone to it. Not that you're receiving a ton of burdens, but you could be releasing them, because the phoenix rising from the ashes is elevating themselves above the chaos. The Lady of Cups. Gemini, as much as you want to talk through things, retreat, go inward. Dream life, rest, subconscious mind, relaxation, calm, vacation, getting near water, getting near salt water. Some of you Geminis are heartbroken. The 10 of Swords, defeated, tried everything you could, and still feeling a little bit at a loss. But you know, with the 10 of Fire and the 10 of Swords, this is a vindication from this experience. And maybe you were just carrying too many burdens in that situation, that it needed to go. The world is, don't lose track of the goal that you had even before this. Don't lose track of it. The world is the object of one's desire completely in the life path. Not just a lover, but the full scope of your life. Now, the 7 of Swords is, there's a manipulative tactic around you, which is probably why you felt this way, and which is probably why you took the burden on. But you have to know, one of your outcome cards is the most beautiful, powerful, and peaceful card of the deck, which is the World. Having come full circle, Gemini, you already know, and have always known, the right way to go, the right path. Trust your gut, trust your instincts with this card. Don't put a square into a circle. If you know something doesn't resonate with who you are, all of the icing on the cake won't make it taste better. I don't know why I'm saying that. Something's telling me to talk about cake or baking. You can't cover up a shitty cake, is what I'm trying to say. If the cake itself doesn't taste good, all the frosting you put on it won't make the cake taste better. I don't know what that is all about. I've never used that metaphor or analogy before. But don't lose track of the goal that you had for yourself. I want to say this. For Geminis having heartache or loss in the 7th house, where Mars and Saturn are in the marriage sector, before you were married, you had goals. Being married might have been one of your goals, but some people aren't born to just be married. The goal comes within you and what you need to accomplish in this life. Marriage can become part of it and then dissipate so you can continue your goal. It seems like you need to go back to why you were born. You weren't born for your husband or wife. So there's going back, yes, to the 4th house. Go all the way back to some of your larger purposes before ever getting entangled in relationship, because your 4th house wants you to go back to that little boy and girl that you were, and remember where you come from. And don't let anyone take that from you, that essence. And what your achievements and goals were prior to relationship is very important to remember, because it's not the only reason you were brought into this world at all. In fact, sometimes it has nothing to do with why you're here. Gemini, I'm wishing you the best. I love you, and I'm wishing you a great August. Remember, the sky is limitless, so reach for the stars.